This podcast is sponsored by Boo Cakes Manchester. Anyway, we're back again. Anton, Black Dad's Lives. And this week we've got a couple of guests who I'll introduce you in a sec.
It's Dache, my son's favourite dad.
It's Carlos. Welcome back.
Hey guys, it's Jason. You know the vibes.
We've got these two. They're both successful musicians, poets and artists. Bax is a content creator, filmmaker and frontman of Ultimate Party Band and self-described Afro Cornets, Bud Sugar.
Say Bud Sugar! Bud Sugar! Bud Sugar! Bud Sugar! Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Bud Sugar! Bud Sugar! Bud Sugar! Bud Sugar! Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Chiedu Oraka is a rap artist hailed as the sound of the northern working class Brits, with his genre-mashing music, clever wordplay and tongue-in-cheek humour.
Come round here, make it taste concrete. You could be the truth and have all the power. I bet your dons turn out like Tariq. Ever had war in the place where you rest at? You got a rep round here, man, I'll test that. You wanna fight, don't mean you won the war. Battle every day round here when you're jet black.
So welcome, lads.
Welcome.
No, thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having the whole boys.
Now, well, that's what we wanted to do, to be fair. We just wanted to give it a little mash up and just see, because obviously we're talking about our experience as black males predominantly, but from living in Manchester and growing up in Manchester. And obviously you guys, for me, will have a different perspective on that from coming from Hull. Do you know what I mean? So I think probably the best, or the place where it makes more sense to start from is, what was it like for you guys growing up black, living in Hull? So whichever one you want to take that first.
Go on then, Bax.
Well, I guess a brief sort of history is like I grew up on a council estate in East Hull. I was raised by a mixed race. So I was raised by my mum. She's white. She was a single mother. I'm one of 4 kids. And we grew up, I was coming up in basically the 90s in East Hull. I consider myself to have quite a different experience to most of my black peers in the fact that although I had a white mum, I had a lot of black and African culture around me when I was growing up. My mum took me to Gambia many times, like over 20 times before I was even like 10 years old. Like there was a strong black community in Hull at that time, albeit small, but like there was a strong black community. So I had like a lot of aunties and uncles, them ones where they're not really related to you, but they're still like an auntie and uncle. And like I say, I was going to Gambia. Like we spent Christmas in Gambia a few times, and I think that really just opened my eyes and gave me a strong sense of identity and a really valuable experience of like that part of my heritage. Like something I've taken for granted as becoming an adult is that there are actually a lot of mixed race kids out there that have struggled massively with their identities, who in a lot of them almost like feel like they wish they were just white because they only know white people and they're the only sort of brown or black, however you want to put it. They're the only black face in their family or in their area, and they've had no connection to that side of their heritage. Meanwhile, I was growing up with a white mum who was cooking, like groundnut and okra and like loads of different African dishes. We had African people come to our house all the time. I spent a lot of time in Africa, kind of pretty much being one of the African kids. And that's something that's been really valuable to my experiences. So obviously, I in a lot of ways, I always felt like a bit of an outsider. I always felt different. But I think because of those experiences, I learned to embrace that and actually make that my strength. And like now as an adult and a musician and a creative, that's the thing about me that I sort of indulge in the most, like in terms of like my personality and stuff. I'm like really out there. I'm unashamed to be me. Like I'm proud of
I picked that up about you, that you are out there, you're unashamed to be you. You are who you are. And it's refreshing to see as well.
Yeah, and like I say, that's because of the childhood experiences, and that's because I didn't realize at the time, but I was actually getting a very unique experience that like not only do a lot of mixed race kids not get, but quite a lot of my black friends, as we've become adults, I've realized like they didn't have those experiences as well. And so that's been really valuable to me. So in a way, I feel like that kind of topped up my other half. Do you know what I mean? It kind of brings me fully into the Black Brotherhood. Because there's a few little discriminations that come from within the Black community as well, and people have called me like half breed and a hybrid and stuff like that in the past, and they kind of try and put you down and say like you're not completely like one of the group kind of thing. So I think there's that sort of like, I mean, I always felt embraced by the Black community, especially the adults, my aunties and uncles. But there is that sort of element where you're kind of aware of that, and then of course you're not white, so where do you kind of sit in there? Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, then I just kind of go, well, all right, I'm just gonna be Bax then, and like I'm just gonna do what Bax wants to do, and no one can categorize me because I'm in my own categorization, and I actually like that. So yeah, that's my experiences. I hope that answers your question.
No, it doesn't. Can I just touch on that, because I just want to big up your mum, because your mum sounds sick. Yeah, big up your mum.
She's all right, to be fair. Like, do you know what I mean? We have our ups and downs and shit, but like definitely like in terms of giving us that side of our culture, and like I think Chiedu said in the first episode, like it couldn't have been easy for her, growing up in a place like Hull with 2 mixed race kids at the time, but eventually 4. I know definitely at that time there would have been like judgments made about her and stuff like that, and like, oh, like you associating with Black people, and that's kind of negative on her. But for her, she just felt more at home and more embraced by the African community, and it just became like a gradual thing where, like, I always say that, like, if in some ways she is African, it's you know what I mean? It's kind of strange, but like in some ways she's absorbed so much African culture in over like 30 years that she's got a strong sense of, like, even now, mate, she refers to us, she calls us her pickings. You know what I mean? She's got like different African sort of nuances and cultures that are mixed in there. So yeah, definitely big up the mumsy.
No, that is big. And sorry, just one more on you, Bax, as well. I got you now. And how did you feel then? Because you said your mum was a single mum. So did you feel then that not having your dad in your life then, or was he there, or just was he there as a distance? Did that affect you, or do you feel like it would have been different if he would have been? Because I don't know, obviously, your background, whether he was about, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, really briefly, essentially, like, she met him when he was at university, and I assume they had me by accident. From what I understand, he was married. He's from Senegal, although I kind of associate myself more with Gambia, but he's from Senegal. And the reason that she started taking us to Africa in the first place is she wanted us to have a connection with Africa, but also that opportunity to kind of know him and sort of like, and like interact with him and so on. That never really panned out, you know what I mean? And I guess at the time, I always had this sense that, like, it's not a big deal. Like, my mum does a good job. Like, she provides me everything that I need, et cetera, et cetera. Now that I'm a father myself, I realize that actually, like, there's a lot of value to having a father in your life. And I never appreciated that until I had my own kids. So like, and I know, like, I've had a lot of issues, I guess, when you look back at the age that we are now, it's easy to kind of see, oh, actually that was a problem. And like, why was that a problem? Because I guess there was this gap in my life, and there wasn't that role model. And there wasn't, like, apart from my uncles and stuff, there wasn't like a Black male close to me to kind of teach me like the rights and wrongs, etc. So, I've taken away from that what I can, like, I'd like to say, like, he taught me what not to do as a father, but by not being there, really, there was nothing taught to me. The only thing that I can really thank him for in terms of that is that, I've always been there for my kids. Like, I'll never walk away from them. I'll always be like available to them. And like, I can't really understand like leaving your kids. Like, in a way, I get it. Like, the situation with them was a bit different. With him, he's already married, and it was kind of an affair and stuff like that. All right, sure, I get it. But you got a lot of mans out here that are like, their kids are right there, and they could be they could be providing for them, or they could be giving them something, and they just don't do it. And I just can't fathom that. But I think maybe because I haven't had that, that's made me, you know, be even more of an active father. But I don't know, man, because I'm obviously like some guys out here didn't have fathers, and then they're not good fathers to their own kids. So I think you can go one way or the other, really.
Yeah, you can either learn to be them or learn to not be like them at all, innit? So it's one of them. So it works out. It can be a blessing or a curse, can't it?
Yeah, exactly. For me, you know, a blessing.
Yeah,
Definitely, man.
Standard.
What about you, Chiedu? Sorry, and thank you for opening up, you know, Max.
Yeah, no worries, fam.
My upbringing, man, just complex, man. Like, I don't know, man. There's just all sorts of, I don't fucking know, man. It's just, I grew up like on an estate called Norfolk Estate, which is, at the time, like just fucking like the Gaza Strip at one point, bro, man. Fucking like the jungle, bro. When I first moved on there, like it was fucking crazy. And so my mum, she's from Nigeria. She had my big sister, and what actually happened is she had my big sister, and then she went back to Nigeria, but my sister was born here, because what Africans used to be quite dodgy back in the day, innit? Like they used to like come over here,
get your passport.
Yeah, basically come over here like when it was like nearly time to like obviously have the babies and that, and then they just get like obviously like have the babies in England, and then obviously their kid would be English, and it was real easy just to come back and forth in them days. So obviously my sister Colika, she was born in London, and then they went back, and then my sister, she developed like glaucoma basically. Like one day my grandma was, I think she was showering my sister, like bathing her, and then like her eye just went real weird, and my mum just panicked like fuck and just said like, if we stay here, like we're not going to get the right medical care, you know, for her eye. So they came back to England, obviously got her eye sorted out, so big up the NHS. and then my mum just decided to do her masters here as well. So my mum says basically if Colika's eye really wasn't like a bit dodge, we might not even have been here. So obviously she came, he did her masters, stayed here, and then I was born.
Big up Mumsy on the masters. Sorry.
What you say?
I said big up Mumsy on the masters.
Yeah, big up the mum on the masters and that. And then she stayed here. I was born, and then we lived like in an area like it was like Cranbrook Avenue, which is heavily studenty. And then we moved, onto Norfolk Estate, which was just crazy. I must have moved onto there when I was like, 5, 4. Just a crazy area, bro. Like I say, like just white kids just left to their own devices. Parents couldn't control them, like just absolute lunatics. And like, obviously I was a kid who just liked to be outside, innit? So I was just obviously trying to mingle in. That wasn't happening. Because like the only black people these guys had ever seen was on the television, bro. Like Desmond's and Real McCoy and them things there, like that was literally the only black people they'd ever seen. So obviously I got subjected to a bit of racism and stuff, and you had to just grow up quick, like get a thick skin. But to be honest with you, bro, like Norfolk, like I've got so many sick memories, man, like good memories. Like the beginnings was tough, but it was sick. And then my mum just tried to like hammer home that I'm black, I'm Nigerian, like you can't get away with certain things what people can do, like you need to work harder at school. Just the typical African.
But did you understand that at the time, or was you just thinking,
bro, like for me, I was like, you know what, I'll openly admit it, like I could say, like we were like heavily churchgoers. So like when we used to go to church, my mum used to like make us wear our traditional clothes and that. But in them times there, like we didn't drive. Like my mum didn't have a car like till long. So I'm walking through the estate in my big African like garmage. Everyone's just laughing, like, Chiedu, what you wearing a dress for and that, like. And like I was like embarrassed, bro, like really embarrassed of my African like heritage them times, like really embarrassed. And yeah, like I'm ashamed of myself really, but I want to know, do you know what I mean? And it was only till I grew that obviously I became proud and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I look back now and it was quite funny really. But yeah, like school was good. I went to 2 good schools. Luckily, I didn't go to like the schools on the estate, which was good. I went to like 2 Catholic schools. And yeah, man, growing up in Hull was good, but it was difficult at times as well. Certain things that I look back now and think that was wrong. But back then I was sort of like used to it, like just getting targeted like continuously by teachers, by like, yeah, kids on the street. Like I knew I was tall in it and I could look after myself. So that obviously added to it. But yeah, just things that just, yeah, don't sit right with me now. But back then I just sort of accepted it. And like you say, going back to your question about me, like back then, did I know? Nah, I didn't, bro. I just wanted to fit in. And my mum used to just try hammer home this message and it'd just go through one ear and out of the other. So yeah, man.
Do you think having your dad in your life more would have influenced that then, or?
Yeah, I think it would have done. But I'm not one for excuses. I'm not one for like saying, oh, if I had my dad in my life, like things would have been good or better or things like that. Like he just wasn't there in it. And I'm lucky that my mum's pretty liberal, man. Like she's not like your typical African woman. Like I was getting away with a lot of shit, like doing a lot of stuff. And she wasn't like her friends. Like when I used to go around to her friend's house and like be with their kids, bro, it's like they was in the army.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, 'cause
it's like they was in the army, like they were just hand and foot, like it was like they were houseboys and girls, like mum and dad would make them do everything. They weren't allowed to step a line out of control. Like I was lucky, me and my sister was lucky. Like my mum was quite laid back and like, yeah, like I remember like going to university and stuff and like I've having white girlfriends and like some of my black peers was like, bro, like, is this white girl like allowed in your house? Like, does your mum know that you got a white girlfriend? And I'm like, yeah, of course she does. Do you know what I mean? Like my mum just want like that. She wants strict. She want real strict like that. Like obviously when relatives came round and that, she used to try and like be a bit stricter and shit, but they always used to just cave in, man. We just was allowed to do what we want, really. Luckily.
Yeah, because I mean, to hear your mother speak about you, Chiedu, like you would say that you were, I won't say bad breed, but I feel like because now real talk, because your mum was saying, yo, listen, you basically she knew you had a good heart in it and she never gave up on you.
Yeah.
But you used to get in quite a bit of trouble. Yeah. That's what she said, in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, true.
To hear your mum talk about you like that, it's like, yeah, you know, I can't believe that, you know, you were a handful, shall we say. But you think like in regards to that though, that's just like the environment that you were placed into, like, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because
yeah, go on.
Because when you say when she's saying like, oh, you know what, I didn't give up on you, and you like you were better than this, and you could be anything you wanted to be, type thing. Like if you were placed in a different environment with a father around you, like it would have been so much different for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would, because stereotypically, the African dad, he's quite stern. He don't take no disrespect. And like I say, like maybe I'm over exaggerating when I say like I was left to do what I want. Like I wasn't left to do what I want, but I got away with a lot. So there was definitely certain things that was like inherited in my life. Like when the adults are in the room, the kids are not there. Like you to be seen and not be heard. Like that was always something that was drilled into me. Like you don't talk big person's business. You can't always respect your elders. Or like what Bax was saying, like I had so many uncles and aunties that weren't my uncles and aunties, but you could never call them by the first name. It was always uncle or auntie. So there was definitely things that was drilled into me, like the food, the culture. My mum did drill it into me from young. But what I think where I would have benefited from having a father is I probably wouldn't have been out there as much as I was.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You know what? For me, yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but for me, yeah, I was gonna say I don't even think that it's so much in as benefiting from having a dad about you. It's maybe benefiting from a different environment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For you as per se, and I think what it is, even if your dad was about, yeah, if your dad would have come across from Nigeria as well, whatever, yeah, then what I think is your mum is a different culture to what she was, to what she's used to. Yeah. So like things like you going out and being out on the street, and like, what age was you first exposed to your first crackhead?
Young, bro, very young.
Early, bro.
I reckon about 8, 7.
Exactly, bro. Yeah. At 8, 7. Whereas if your mum knew the culture and knows like, nah, there's crackheads. Yeah. On them out there on them streets. Do you think your mum's gonna be letting you go out and play? No.
Yeah. And I think
your mum's not expecting that. You get me?
Yeah, I think you're right. I do think there was definitely a bit of naivety from my mum, really, and not really understanding, the culture, really. Like just thinking, because obviously where she comes from, like it's funny because everyone just associates Africa as being poor, but like when I used to go to Nigeria, on holidays, like they used to have like houseboys and house girls. They used to have drivers, bro. And I'm like getting picked up from the airport by the driver and that, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, I'm used to getting on the 15 bus. You get me? I used to get on the 15 bus and I'm getting picked up by some driver and like having house girls and houseboys like cleaning up the house, cooking us food. Like my mum always laughs, like she says like people think that when I was used to riches, like I used to drive like good cars when I was back at home. Like your dad was a rich guy, like we had a rich family. Like don't just because I'm on Norfolk Estate think that like I'm poor and that. Like this is just obviously the card she was dealt. But yeah. My mum, like she used to always drill that home to me as well. She said like, don't think you're like all these kids and that, these little vagabonds and that. Like you're not, like you're from good stock. Basically, your family like is something important in Nigeria. Like she used to drill that, and I think that's like a proper African thing, man. They're proper proud in it.
Yeah.
Proper, especially Nigers as well. Nigerians, man, they're just.
I was about to say that they're proud, man.
They're proper proud and they're like arrogant and that, like real arrogant with it. Like they think they're ace, man. Like maybe I've got that in me, but my mum walks up. My mum just thinks she's the boss. Like whatever room she goes into, she thinks she just demands respect. And the way she speaks, to people and that, just like my missus and that, we just crack up because it can come across as being rude, but if you're not Nigerian, you won't get it, or if you're not African, you won't get it.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of few shots with my Nigerian boy, and then the way he just waits and that, I'm just like, come on, say please, and he just look at me like, nah, it don't work like that. Nah, they know what it means. It's not rude to them, so that's just how it is, isn't it? But it's funny, man.
So what's? Can I ask what are your guys' backgrounds then?
My background, me and Carlos, we're brothers, you see. Anton.
Yo, which one's faster? Which one's the faster brother?
Obviously, I'm the faster one. Everyone knows that. Anton's our cousin. So, yeah, we're family. Jason, we just found him outside one day. We brought him in because
he just never left.
We felt sorry for him, but he never left. He always wanted to be family. But his extended family, we'll give him that.
I'll go anytime, you get me? I'll go anytime.
And so what, you three are Nigerian then?
Yeah, we're from St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, that's where my dad's side of the family are from. That's in the Caribbean.
Right.
And then my mum's side of the family from Jamaica.
Right.
But this is what I was going to just touch upon. See, with our families, I'm not sure about you, Jason, but all of our parents were born in England. I feel that has a major difference in terms of like how the children are then brought up. Because we're not like first generation, or our parents aren't, because they're born here, do you know what I mean? Whereas a lot of my African friends, obviously, they were either born in Africa or the parents were from Africa, do you know what I mean? So I feel like they still have a bit more of the culture than obviously us, do you know what I mean? When it's come down to us, obviously we still do have it because obviously we've been back home, and I think that's important that you do go back home and touch base and go and see your roots. But I feel like when it's like, obviously it's our grandparents, it's not our parents. So with us, we're born here, so we kind of like know how the society does work. Whereas our parents, like as in my dad generation, I feel like they were again left to their own devices.
My dad, our dad's got away with bits.
Do you know what I mean? They're left to their own
Dad's got away
devices
with bits like Chiedu got away with bits.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like that because the parents don't know what go on in the city. Do you know what I mean? So then I feel like that has a big reflection on how they were brought up. And I feel like obviously when it's come to us, they're like, okay, it's all right. I feel like they let us kind of like do things within reason. But like I said, at the same time, if you ever needed help and having your dad there, he was there to always like try and like guide you on any like problems that did happen. Because obviously, if I talk to my dad about set things, he's like, oh yeah, like don't worry too much, but that's happened to me. Or he'd always tell me like life goes round in cycles, like all the things that I've been doing. He's like, do you think I haven't been doing it myself? I've done that already. Don't think you can lie to me or get away with it. I've done it already. Do you know what I mean? So having my dad there, kind of like, obviously, he knew to a certain extent, like, yeah, okay, now I need to like be more of a dad. Do you know what I mean? And like bring in more guidance and whatnot. But besides that, like, yeah, I feel like it's different. It's a bit different.
See, because like, sorry, go on, Max.
I'm saying that in regards to George's point, both my parents were born in Jamaica. My mum came over from Jamaica when she was a little girl. My dad came over from Jamaica when he was a big man. So my mum is very much British, even though she says that she's not, but she is. My dad was very much Jamaican in England. And in regards to my upbringing, in regards to the way I was treated, like my father was very aware that he was Jamaican. He's not English. England is not his country. And as a black man, there are things that you have to do to fit in, and not necessarily draw attention to the fact that you're different, like just integrate in with society. You get me? Like things like not giving the people, and when he says people, he means white people, reason to look at you or laugh at you or to call you names, or basically just exist and don't cause too much rifts in it. But my upbringing was very similar to the ones that you described in regards to the one that Chiedu described in regards to my parents were very strict. My dad was very strict. My mum, not so strict. He didn't let me go out and do much things unless, I was under certain control. And I think, it's very much, I agree in regards to the naivety and, what you go out and what you get up to, because they don't experience those things back home. Like they don't appreciate that they exist in it. So just a bit mad still. But no, man, I think having a father there who was aware that, it's going to be difficult and tough for a black man to exist in England, in a predominantly white society, it was important for me to learn those lessons from my mom, from my dad. And I have nothing but respect for Bax's mom, in trying to also instill those ethics and those learnings and values inside of you, with her being white as well. Like when you were talking about on the documentary, and you said your mum was white, but you've said all these things about she used to have, cook all African food and all that. I was like, yo, listen, that is a real, like, that is a queen, man, because a lot of parents won't do that, like, to embrace, like, such a different culture from their own, like, because they've got a mixed race child and they want their child to appreciate both sides. That's a beautiful thing, man. So, I honestly, man, it was mad. It was mad to hear. So I'm grateful for my mother and father being there. But it's a wonderful thing to see both your parents, having to play both roles. Because listen, it can't be easy, man. Like it must be so tough for everyone, for you guys as the children growing up without a father, but for obviously the mother having to be the mother and the father, man. So it's just a massive respect, boys. Honestly.
Trust me. Even since having a kid, yeah, like I just big up women, like 100%. Even more than what I did before. Because obviously, if you just look at what they do, just in general, obviously for a woman to do it, but I've had my kid for like a couple of hours by myself, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, this is just mad. But obviously, for a single woman to be doing that, like every day for however many years, and with more than one child as well, boy,
Man,
I just feel
especially with Chiedu.
Yeah, definitely with Chiedu, mate.
Now, and sorry, just to line up a bit as well, one of the things that we discussed on a couple of episodes ago was talking about sex, innit? And it's when you was exposed to sex. Look at Jason laughing already. And just when your first experience and stuff like that. And for me, I just want to see, because for me, I think, I'm not sure if Hull's different to Manchester, innit? So, because when we're talking Manchester, don't get me wrong, I've got friends that was doing bits at young ages, innit? But then my young age isn't as young as Chiedu.
Chiedu was active in it from early, innit?
Yeah, Chiedu was active. When was you active from Chiedu?
Not like really, but yeah, obviously I was exposed because like in Hull, like, and I'm sure like anywhere else, but like the chav culture in it, like,
well, that's sort of, yeah.
The chav culture was heavy in Hull, and I was heavily like I would say like I was brought up heavily in the chav culture, like, and you were doing like all nighters from like year 7 and 8. You was like, oh, should we do an all nighter tonight? And like literally, I don't know if you know what an all nighter is, but you're just on the streets all night, like literally all night, not going home. Police are coming, you're running off from the police, like you're just stashing in bushes and in parks and all that sort of shit. And obviously, yeah, you're with young girls, innit? So you get a bit of fucking smelly fingers and fucking.
Do you think that's part of the council estate lifestyle, though?
What, smelly fingers, bro?
I think obviously because obviously you're on the estate, and there's a lot of young people. Well, there's going to be bound to be a lot of young people.
Yeah,
maybe more of close proximity to young people and a group of them. Because like obviously when we lived on the estate, there was a bag of young people, and like I was saying, like when we moved away, it was completely different. You know what I mean? You hardly come across that many young people. Like I said, like I enjoyed living on an estate solely because of, like I said, the
all
amount
the
of
different
young
people. Yeah.
There's a community atmosphere as part of it.
Yeah.
Whereas like when we moved away from that, like you hardly even spoke to your next door neighbours. Do you know what I mean? So that's,
So yeah, just exposed from young, and then like when you get just a little bit older, like year 9, 10, 11, like there's house parties all the time in different areas of Hull. So you'd go there and like, yeah, there's just girls in it. Like everyone's drunk, like.
Yeah, man, I know the vibes.
You just go there and you just, everyone's just doing their thing.
Yeah,
so,
smelly fingers all round, bro.
Smelly fingers all round, just, yeah, you're just young and just being a little, you're just experimenting.
But this is what I mean, like, because obviously, did any of your mums then have the talk with you or even say anything to you about sex growing up? Because none of us, I think, when we covered it, none of our parents actually came and like, had a chat with us. Or
you know what? My mum never gave me the chat, but like a typical African woman, she just said, make sure you don't bring no babies to my house.
Yeah, big facts.
And be careful because these white girls, they want black babies. So be very, very careful. And you know what? Even all my friends always say, like, I can't believe you never got trapped or never like been in any of that. They never really had that situation. You know what, bro? Like, I can just put that down to just God in it. Like, I have been lucky. I might have some kids I don't know of, but luckily, I just don't know of them. But yeah, man, I'm lucky that I dodged that bullet at that young age. It's not a bullet to dodge. I mean, obviously, I want kids in it, but
nah, you've said it, man. You've said it now. You've said it. It's all right, man.
At young age.
You said it, yeah.
What about you, Bax?
Yeah, I mean, I had a bit more of a different experience to Chiedu. I was a bit more of a late bloomer.
Like
you,
us.
yeah, man, like us.
Yeah. So, and I don't know, like, well, firstly, just to touch on what you were saying about the council estate environment, I do think that, how can I put this, like, that it seems like a lot more of the broken people seem to be on the estate. So I feel like then there is like almost like a breakdown in sort of like what's appropriate and sort of morals and stuff like that in a way. So, like, there was a lot of teenage pregnancies. There was a lot of drug use and alcohol abuse. I could name you about 10 different families that, like, routinely every single day sat outside of their house on a sofa that just sat in their front garden and drank. There were certain families and certain names in East Hull which you knew, like, were dangerous and you didn't mess with. And if someone said, "Oh, I'm from such and such family, I'm one of the Joneses or whatever," then you backed off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So was there some sort of gang culture in Hull then? Or would you not say, because, see, gangs are associated with black people, so there's no bunch of black people in Hull, so it's not classed as gangs. But from what you're saying then, if it's got groups of friends, normally, if it was in Manchester, for instance, and there was a group of black lads, outside of a shop, it'll be a gang, and that's what they'll class them as, in it, that group of friends. Am I right or am I wrong by saying that, by the way?
Yeah,
No,
1,000,000% there was gangs, mate, and there was,
definitely. Like, I just don't think it was. You just wouldn't call it a gang, innit? But I would definitely say that when I look back at, like, what me and my friends used to get up to, we was definitely a gang. But
and I think
it just wasn't cool to say it.
One cool to call it. I mean, I want in that. I was more like I was like an alternative kid. Do you know what I mean? So I want like Chiedu said before when we was on another video chat. Like, I'm the sort of kid that Chiedu would have been punching. Do you know what I mean? So, like,
what a dickhead, man. Listen, what a guy.
We were like at different sides of the fucking map, mate, and obviously like that. We've kind of coalesced as we've got older. But from my perspective, like, from the outside looking in at these gangs, like, they were gangs and they were seen as gangs and they were, like, profiled, basically. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, they weren't profiled because they were a certain skin colour, but they were profiled by the way that they dressed. Were they all rocking about on mountain bikes and shit like that? Like, me personally, I knew if I saw a certain group looking a certain way to just go a different way. Like, don't walk past them, mate, because they're gonna try and fuck with me. So, like, I think definitely, like, that they're the same. I just think that for whatever reason, in cities where there are more black faces, like, it's easier to tie a black face to someone. It's easier to look at someone and say, "You're black. You're coming from a lower income area, and I associate you with being part of these groups." But definitely in Hull, like Chiedu said, dashing himself in bushes to get away from the police. The police knew what they was looking for. The police never pulled up near me and was like, "Oh, look, me with my fucking massive baggy jeans on and my fucking Metallica t-shirt on and shit." Like, they weren't coming after me.
Yeah. You weren't really a threat box, were you? Let's be honest.
I was not a threat, mate, at all. I was a target, fam.
But listen, but the fact that, like, for example, like, Chiedu's doing, it sounds to me like you're doing organised crime. Listen, let's just call it what it was. And the fact that you're doing organised crime, I don't even imagine what you're getting into. But all I can say first and foremost is, God, your poor mother. Secondly, right, the fact that you're doing up all these organised crime in Hull as one of the only black people, like, didn't you think, like, obviously, if they say what you look like, he's black. Okay, we know who that is.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. That was all the time, bro. All the time.
Plus, bro, you're like 2 foot bigger than everybody else.
That's what I'm saying.
So what are you doing, bro?
That's it. And, like, the thing is, like, it was the same because so the kids who I ended up, you could say, in this gang with or whatever, like I had beef with a lot of kids from my own area, to be honest with you, because me and my friendship groups, we was from all over Hull. And, like, we just sort of, like, came together weirdly. I don't even really know how. We all came together, and, like, there was quite a lot of ethnic minorities in my in my group. So there was a few Asian lads, there was a few mixed lads, and then there was a few like there was like two twins, like two Syrian kids. So like we were just bait as fuck, like yeah, black, Asian, Syrians, like
That shit sounds scary to me.
United Nations, man.
Yeah, that shit is intimidating to me. Just imagine it.
And we were just angry, bro. It was angry, and we all obviously had our own stories and stuff. And we just came to and just
fuck shit up.
Fuck shit
That's
up.
something that I noticed. that she was angry,
for a
and
while.
she couldn't stand.
You know what it is though, like obviously I give back now to the youth and that, and I tell them like not even to go. Like I'm not even claiming I'm some sort of fucking gangster or anything, because I'm not. Like I'm not a man. Like I'm just a kid who can used to be able to handle myself. I'm old now. I used to be able to handle myself. I used to throw my weight around a bit. We used to go drinking around town. Had a couple of scraps, and that's it really. But that's as bad as it really gets in Hull. But like, I'm not glorifying. Like, I'm glad I've got this opportunity to come on this podcast, because like, there's kids out here now who are miles worse than what I was. Miles.
Yeah.
Like the youth on North Hull now, they are absolutely ruthless. Like, they do not care. Like they're riding on motorbikes, stolen, barefaced, not bothered about getting chased by the police. They want to get chased by the police. Like, they do not care. Like, they are not bothered. And like, it's a shame really, because I do think even though we was on badness a little bit back in the day, we all had a little bit of heart. Now these kids don't have a good heart, man. They're just horrible little fuckers, man. They really are, though. They really are.
I think kids these days
full on terrorists.
Yeah, definitely. Because even if you remember our estate that we used to live on, we were pretty into all this messing about, doing dodgy stuff. But then there were a group of kids that were a lot worse than us. But I think as generations have gone on, kids are getting just worse and worse. Like back in the day, remember when you do something bad and you'd just be on the estate and someone else's dad would tell you off?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell your parents. And you'd be like, oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, you'll be like, I'm going to tell your parents. The kid will go, bring your dad then. I'll knock him out too, or something like that.
Yeah.
But
there's not that respect. And even me, like I say, like even I did a little bit of badness, but again, there was always kids worse than me. But I always think like, because I had
you got the blame, bro. You stood out.
Yeah, I stood out. I just stood out, man. And I always used to get in trouble all the time. Sometimes when it wasn't even my fault. Sometimes like we could all be drinking or going around town drinking, and like they would go for me first because I'm the big black kid. I'm the target. Like they just go for me first, even though I've had nothing to do with the incident. But that's just
what I'm saying. I didn't even know Hull was like that. Honestly, to be fair, I hadn't even heard of Hull before Anton needed to move to there, to be fair. But then what I think is mad though is with yous growing up in Hull, like even it happens to me when I'm going out to say if I've gone to a festival or anything along those lines. People are always quick to come up to me and be like, oh, you got any drugs or anything like that. So obviously, because yous are from Hull, I can only presume that a bag of people just be coming up to you, man, and asking you that. Do you know what I mean? Because these are the only like black ones there.
I'm gonna let Back speak about this because obviously Back's Kofi, he said that he gets people coming up to him for drugs all the time. I never get people coming up to me for drugs, you know.
No, I mean...
Yeah, because you look too higher up the chain, Chiedu.
That's the kingpin.
Yeah, he's the kingpin behind the scenes, pulling all the strings in it.
No, I mean, people have sort of said it to me, but like, I guess because of like my hair and everything, they kind of assume. And to be honest, like if I'm honest, like for a long time I was like, you know, like not like selling or anything like that, but I was a big like weed smoker, like heavy for a long time. And again, like becoming a father was something that kind of, I knew for years that I needed to like knock it on the head. When I became a father, I kind of finally took the plunge, like, and completely quit smoking cigarettes and weed, etc. But there was definitely like a time where, like people would say to me, oh, like, mate, and to be honest, even before I smoked, I still had dreads, and I still had people sort of saying, "Oh, definitely my man smokes, though, don't you?" And I kind of was like, well, "Me? How dare you? Well, you just want to judge me with my hair?" Like, but eventually, I sort of like, you know, I kind of indulged in my first sort of, you know, I had my little first indulgence, and I was kind of smitten from there, and you know, slightly going off track a little bit, but coming from my environment and my background and single mum and stuff like that, you know, I kind of, it was like I was kind of destined to go that way if I ever came into contact with it. I'd always been brought up by my mum saying never smoke, you know, never do drugs. If you're gonna do anything, just drink that. You know what I mean? Like, definitely don't become a smoker. And I did become a smoker, and I did, you know, started smoking weed, and I definitely experimented with like a bunch of other different drugs as well, especially when I was like in my sort of early 20s and stuff. And I always actually remember being at a cash machine, getting some money out, and I had like I had a spliff on the go, and I was just like getting my money out of the cash machine, and this group of white people came up, and this one white woman said, "Oh, typical, like where to play into the stereotype." And I remember thinking then, like, you know what I mean? It's not really your place to kind of say whether there's a stereotype or not. Like, now I understand that, like, yeah, do I need to be stood at the cash machine with a fucking big joint on the go? Probably not. But again,
no, but everybody smokes weed though. Every colour of person, we just associate it with black people.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And you know, obviously, I took offence to that, but these things have happened here and there. But like, yeah, definitely, people have assumed like, at parties or whatever, "Oh, bro, can you get any weed? Can you get any of this?" I've had a few people say, "Can you get coke? And can you get stuff like that?" But that's not really like my sort of thing. But again, whether that's because I'm black or whether that's because I look like the sort of guy that might be doing that.
You just look a bit different, innit? You look a bit out there, so it's like, could give him a try.
Yeah. I look experimental, don't I?
Yeah. You might try a thing.
But no, like I wouldn't say. I reckon it's more prevalent in places like Manchester, where you guys came from, Birmingham's, obviously like London as well. Like, again, Hull's a bit different. Like, to be honest, I know I can go out into the street now and I'll point to the white guy that I know can definitely get you whatever you want to get. So again, it's different where we're growing up. Like on my estate, mate, you knew who you could get it from. You knew what they look like. You know what I mean? They dress a certain way. They carry themselves a certain way. They've probably got a spliff on the go. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. On your estates, you probably could get all sorts, not only just drugs as well. You probably could get shopping and all them things there.
DVD players,
Definitely.
microwaves.
Shoplifters used to knock on the door. Do you fancy this? Do you fancy that?
Yeah,
definitely. DVD standard, man.
Yeah, I used to love going to my friends in Salford. I used to get knocked on every Friday. I used to go there just in anticipation to see what my mum was bringing around, innit? And then they started getting a bit sophisticated and started robbing to order. So like, just look on Selfridges. If you want, just let me know and I'll get it out for you, half the price.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Yo, like where I grew up in Wally Range, innit? And when my dad was like pretty much like, he was one of the, well, I'd say as far as community leaders go, like everyone knew my dad, didn't, like everyone knew him. So anybody robbed anything, they'd always come to my dad like, "Yo, do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy?" And 9 times out of 10, my dad would say yes. And I remember there was one time in my front room at Clarendon Road, there must have been at least, I probably shouldn't say this, but he's dead now, so I can't even really implicate him too much. There was at least 30 to 40 stolen bikes in my front room, like, that my dad just bought from thieves. Like, and it was like, when you look back now, it's bad, innit? It's wrong, but he thought he was doing like his bit for the community, like, helping people out, like.
You got the 30 bikes, bro.
That's what he called it.
Yo, listen.
No, yeah. Charity work.
Yeah. Yo, bike rides were lit. Listen, all the friends come around, and man, them everyone's got a bike. We were the gang, bro. We were the gang.
No, it's crazy. You man, your music though, have you ever thought about taking it outside of like moving to like the bigger cities like Manchester, Birmingham, London, any of those sides to like pursue your actual dreams and that?
Yeah, like 2018, I quit my job from being a teacher, and like me and my missus basically moved down to London, innit? And like, so I'm basically back and forth anywhere from London to Hull, and like it was definitely the best thing that I did. Like, got signed to a label, like things was popping, and then COVID came and fucked it.
But I've heard that this year, bro.
Yeah, just fucked it because things was good. Like, things about being in places like London is like just the opportunities to network.
Yeah.
There's always like free events, like you could just go to and just be very close to artists that you like. So it's sick, man. And like the last time I performed live properly was at an event for Clash magazine, which is quite a big publication.
Yeah.
And it was sick. Like, I supported like that guy that Pounds, that guy who sings that Up Thought, and this other grime guy called Capo Lee and that, and it was sick. Like, there was loads of industry heads there, and like it was sick, bro. And then like I said, that was in December last year. It's gonna be like nearly a year since I last performed.
That's mad, that, you know.
Mad. So yeah, man. Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on just adventuring, like outside of Hull. Like, I've done everything in Hull, bro. Same with Bax. Bax will say himself, like, me and his group, we've done everything in our city. So like, there's literally nothing here for us to do. Like, the only thing to do is just conquer other places.
So what's next for you now, for you both?
Well, like, you know, just quickly off the back of that, like I've dabbled with going like to different cities and stuff. My instinct has always been that like you don't really need to go anywhere because we live in the internet age, and you know, if you can make a wave or make a sound or whatever, you can get whatever connections you need online.
Or you can make a trend.
Say again?
Or you can make a trend.
Or you can make a trend, yeah, exactly. And so like, obviously, as you'll know, like I've branched out a little bit from the music into sort of more like the content creation, influencer sort of realm, which has been going really well for me. And that's got me a lot of connections. It's got me the connections I wanted to get for my band, but for myself. So, and then obviously like my music is kind of comes as part of the package essentially. And that really opened up my eyes. So like for me, really, like I'm a lot more wanting to pursue like the content creation and the influencer stuff, because I just feel like the music industry and like I've become a bit, I don't know, just like disenfranchised with it all. Like I just, because of everything that I've seen, what I've experienced, stuff like that, the fact that there's a new artist every day, someone's hot, then they're not, like, to me, that started to lose its appeal in a way. Like, not to say that I don't want to still do music and I still want to create stuff, obviously. And then obviously there's COVID as well, which is kind of give everyone a chance to sort of think and reevaluate like where they're going and what they're doing. But during this period of COVID, for most people, it's been a horrible time. But for me, it's been great, to be honest, because I've honed in on that influencer and that social and that content creation. I've built an audience, a strong audience. I've made, you know, I'm making a decent living off of being a content creator, way more than I ever made doing music. You know what I mean? So like, that's me kind of thinking, right, well, where do I want to go with this now going forward? So at the minute, really, I'd be more likely to describe myself as a content creator as opposed to a musician.
Okay.
But obviously, as a content creator, I create content, and music is part of the types of, there's like various different contents that I can create, as opposed to just being a musician, which I feel like really kind of pigeonholes me. And
it's putting you in a box, isn't it?
It puts me in a box, and it makes my success a lot harder to achieve, because let's face it, the chances that you're going to become, first of all, a musician that makes any money, or a musician that is, very famous, is super, super slim. It's so slim. Like the chances that that's actually going to work is so slim. Yet Chiedu will attest to this. We throw ourselves into that ambition wholeheartedly, head first, no looking back. We're gonna make it. It's tunnel vision. Like you don't accept any other, possibility other than I'm gonna make this. But realistically, the industry's just there to chew people up and spit them out, and it don't care. You're nothing to them at the end of the day. Whereas I feel like being an independent musician or content creator or an influencer or whatever, you take back that control. Those people are there on your platform. You don't have to answer to other people unless you choose to.
Yeah.
And like I say, the connections that have been opened up to me. I mean, some of the people that follow me online, do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
My TikTok journey so far. My first viral vid was this absolute work of art. Then I started pranking my kids by freezing their breakfast and their takeaways. Then it was combining different musical genres with different countries. We discovered some really cool stuff. Then I challenged myself to learn new skills. I did it first time. Oh no! I had my fair child and revealed their gender.
Go for a boy.
So I'll go for girl.
What was it?
It was a girl. Then I started doing rice flip art. And one of these ended up being my most viral video so far. You weren't wrong about that, Dylan. It went so viral that Will Smith even reposted it. I even got paid to do it for Panda Express. Then I started getting all this cool fan art. I proposed to my girlfriend. She said yes. My baby was born.
What
are you doing? And most recently, I shook up African TikTok. And that's
just happened in 10 months. Whereas before, I was doing the music for 8 years. And I wasn't getting those doors open. But, now I've got fucking Erykah Badu following me. I've got...
Have you?
Yeah.
Erykah Badu,
Yeah, man. I've got Jeremy Lynch following me. I've got... Sway? You remember Sway from back in the day?
Yeah, I can remember Sway, bro.
Sway follows me, do you know what I mean? All these people are following me.
That's mad.
And will reply to me when I message them as well. And that's the maddest thing.
That's the main thing, trust me. Because
So
obviously people are then buying into you rather than your music. It's you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And then if they buy into you, then it's going to be a lot more likely that then when you present them with the music or a short film or whatever other stuff that you're doing, that they're going to then be open to embracing that, as opposed to trying to go with the thing first, then say, oh, but I've got a personality behind it. Then they've got to like that thing first, and if they don't like it, they're not going to get any of your personality.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just my ridiculous little rambling.
No, that's big. That. I'm surprised Jason. Go on, Jason.
No, go on.
You know what I'm gonna say, so.
No, say it.
No, you don't do the dash.
No, say it.
I'm surprised you're not mentioned about Bax's videos, innit? Because you was excited about that.
Well, listen, Bax, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. As far as that, I've seen a lot, before Anton even mentioned that we're doing a thing, I'd seen you throwing rice around on Instagram and on TikTok before, right? And even before I got the chance to meet you, I was a big fan of your work. I think it's incredibly creative. I've seen it done a lot, on Instagram and TikTok now, man. And my biggest thing is honestly the
how to do it.
No, I don't want you. Listen, first things first, let's get this straight. I would not be allowed to waste so much rice.
Yeah.
My wife would not allow, if she caught me doing that with rice, oh my gosh. But my thing is now is in regards to the rice and the content creating and that side of things, how do you do it? Because you post a lot and it's always something that's new. It's always something that's engaging, interesting, it's the drive and determination to continuously go and go and go and go. Like I can imagine it's incredibly hard and incredibly frustrating, like collecting rice off the floor constantly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've moved on from the rice.
Rice. Yeah.
I've kind of moved on from that, but I mean,
I saw your Christmas one. That was sick, by the way.
Oh yeah, with a grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's like this. Like before the music, I was kind of like lost. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't really taking good care of myself. Like, and I realized later that I wasn't around the right type of people. I was around people that didn't. I've always been a real creative guy. Like I used to stay behind after college, and we used to take the cameras from the media department, and me and my friends would like make films and create and stuff like that. Like we used to go into the music classroom at lunchtime at school and make songs. So we always wanted to like create stuff. And when I was in Hull, I was around those types of people. When I went to uni, I was just around, you know, stoners and slackers and waste men, and none of them wanted to do anything. And then eventually I started to reconnect with some of my boys from Hull, like my brother and stuff like that. And we started like creating stuff. And I think we recorded it's so bad. Like someone sent it to me the other day. It was so bad, but there's basically this rendition of Afro Man Because I Got High. It's playing it on guitar. Like we put it on YouTube and we got like 200 views. And at that time we was like 200 views, like we're famous. So from that point we were just posting and like a lot of it was bad, but we was learning as we went. And people was like gravitating towards us because they thought, well, there's something about these guys that we kind of like. And so when I started to realize that this was something I could do, that pulled me out of that negative space. And so I had this constant drive basically to just always do this stuff, always thinking about it. Like obviously there's downsides to it as well, because you know it's like all I wanted to do all the time, like causing arguments with me and my fiance, and you know I'm always going to the studio and blah 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 blah, staying up late, editing, whatever. But I had this drive, and over the past like 8 years, I've like rewired my circuitry to be that way. So like now, it's so easy for me to think, right, like I'm gonna make this different amount of content, and I'm gonna spend all day sort of sorting out and fixing it. And again, you got to appreciate, like for a long time, there was no money, there was no benefit, I wasn't even getting like. I was getting all right views, but I wasn't getting anything like what I'm getting now. But I just, like I say, that tunnel vision, I was just like, if I just keep doing this, something's going to happen. And then TikTok came along. And the thing about TikTok, because I was always into YouTube back in the day as a consumer, and I always knew that if I had got into YouTube at the right time, I could be something, but I didn't get into it. And I got into YouTube at the time most of the rest of us got into it, when we realized like it could pay off. So then we started getting into it. It was too late by that point. When I discovered TikTok and I realized like, mate, this is my opportunity to get in early. And even at that time, it'd already been out for a while, but it wasn't mainstream like it is now. And I knew like if I get onto TikTok now, and I start just using all this knowledge that I've accrued over the past decade on TikTok, something will happen. And, you know, finally, after like 10 years, I was right. And I started to get the viral videos. I started to get, you know, the big following. I started to get videos going viral off TikTok on all the other different platforms. And I've learned what will work on TikTok over the past 10 years. So I was like, it was like perfect timing. If I didn't go onto TikTok now, mate, do you know what I mean? I won't have any of this. But TikTok is what opened the doors. Then that TikTok splashes onto Instagram. Then my Instagram grows. Then my YouTube starts to grow. And then it's kind of knock-on effect. And then you got the connections. And then you can kind of call on them if you need like advice, or, you know, can you help me with this video, or can you just even comment on this video, because then it'll kind of like drive
up your views and numbers and whatnot.
Exactly. And so for me, it's like, well, I throw the rice up. That first time I did it, I was just thinking, let me just get some views. right? Because I'd had some viral videos. You get a taste for it, and it was like, and I'd had a few little like small jobs, you know, like paid promotions. So I was like, I got to keep those numbers. I got to keep the followers building. Let me just do it. Goes insanely viral. Straight away, everyone is like in my DMs. Do that rice video for me. How much for the rice? How much for the rice? How much for the rice?
How much for the rice?
Yeah,
$1,000.
You'd be actually shocked by like some of the money that I was being offered and that I took to throw rice. And at the end of the day, and you got to understand, like I've been a freelance guy all these years, right? So really, I have to just work within my realm. I have to work with who I can work with, like because I are cut out, and Chiedu's the same. Yeah, we are 9-to-5ers. I wish I was honestly, because it's caused me so much hardship over the years to not just accepting a 9-to-5. But I just didn't have the right things instilled in me to do that. So, and like all respect to people that do. Do you know what I mean? Because they were the ones going out and buying nice shit and paying their bills on time, and I was the one who had the bailiffs coming around to my house and fucking clamping my car. And if it weren't for my friends who was doing 9-to-5s. Helping me and lending me the money so that I could give it to the bailiff so he didn't take my car. Like that's the situation that I was in. And so I had every reason to think, stop doing what you're doing. But I didn't. And I could have stopped a year ago, I could have stopped 2 months ago, but I didn't. And it's finally started to pay off. So like I say, when people are saying, I'll give you X amount of money to chuck some rice up in the air, Jace, you fucking chuck it and you recollect that rice. I'm telling you now, man. Like, mate, there's still rice in my back garden now from 6 months ago, mate.
Let me just get my charger.
All right.
No worries.
Mate, honestly, like, I was going to the shop every day and buying like two kilos of rice. And they must have thought, every time I went in, they must have thought, how much fucking
What's
rice
this guy doing?
Nah, mate, I'm at home chucking it in the air. People on TikTok saying to me, bro, don't you know people need that rice to eat? Bro, this rice is helping me eat. It's feeding me. Do you know what I mean?
am not people. People is I.
Exactly. That rice is putting rice on my plate, quite literally.
But do you know what? That makes me laugh, because what do you think's gonna happen? Like, it's on a shelf. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't get when people say stuff like that.
It's a mad concept, isn't it? Like if I didn't buy this rice, like they're still. I mean, I get it. I understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
If I buy this rice, or not, they're still not gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what I'm saying.
It's a hard one.
But
you know what? Sorry, Bax. Let me ask you a question, though, Bax. In regards to the influencing thing, and in regards to the social media aspect of what is now your career, so to speak. Obviously you've moved and you've evolved and adapted from the rice. Like, how, like, in regards to, like, I'm guessing doing it full time and the income side of things, like, do you get paid off views on TikTok, or like?
Yeah. So at that time, you didn't get paid for your views on TikTok. You just got paid if someone paid you to, like, promote it. Since then, I think maybe like 3 months ago, TikTok started this thing called the TikTok Creator Fund, which is kind of similar to the YouTube situation where where you can get the money. So the way that works on TikTok is essentially, if you have X amount of followers and you get X amount of views a month, you're eligible. And then once you're eligible, you get is it CPMs? So like X amount of pennies per X amount of views. But like at the minute, I'm doing all right, to be honest. I probably make about 400 quid a month from TikTok. Which to me is passive income. So like once I posted the video, then the money keeps coming in for that video for as long as it's out there. And then of course, when I have the brand deals as well. So then when you accumulate all that together, if you do well on a good month, you can maybe like my best month, I've maybe made like 3 or 4 grand. And then on not a great month, I'll maybe make like 1,000 or something in that region. The problem is that it's you constantly have to keep that momentum and that.
Yeah.
So like
it's the work rate, innit?
Yeah, so you can't. So you always got to think, well, next month I might not make anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've got to keep your opportunities and options open. So obviously, I work with other organisations like me and Chiedu are working with Back to Hours, but again, the opportunity to work with Back to Hours or other things, you know, like other companies that have reached out to me is off the back of the profile. You know, like even for me and Chiedu, like the reason Back to Hours want to do this series with us is because we're both known in the city and we've both got a voice in the city.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't just do this with anyone, you know, 2 black guys from the city. It needed to be
2 black
those
guys.
people that
You have to be
it had to be us two, yeah.
In reality,
And it's the same with the social media, like, you know, like you said, the rice thing. That was so long ago, but still.
Yeah. Everyone remembers you for it.
Everyone remembers. Yeah. So, and like I do so many different types of content, but you never know what's going to be the thing. But the rice thing so far has been the thing. So if I'm biking through town, I've got 14-year-olds going, "Oh, you're that guy that throws rice on TikTok."
Rice man.
Yes, it is I.
You have to go around with a bag of rice just in case.
Say again, what you are?
You have to go around with rice in your pocket just in case someone wants you to do it.
Yeah, I just throw rice people like, yeah, have some free rice. Every grain's got my signature on me. Go and sell it on eBay. But yeah, man. It's been good, mate. Like, you know, obviously, like you guys, what you guys are doing, if you can figure out a way to translate it in some way to TikTok, that could benefit you massively. And especially because like maybe you just take 60 seconds, the best 60 seconds, and you post that on TikTok. You never know what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You say everyone on TikTok gets a viral video, like, and I've seen it. I've seen accounts with like 20 followers, but you go through 50 videos, and then there's one video there with 2 million views. Like, everyone will get some virality, and if you can like hone that in and build that, that's the place to be now. Instagram, like, don't get me wrong, Instagram's good, and I'm trying to, you know, I post there and stuff, and I value like the platform, but to this generation that's on TikTok, they don't give a fuck about Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram's for old men and women to them. You know what I mean? And Facebook, don't even mention
Facebook. Yeah.
Nobody was with Facebook.
It's just
and I hate Twitter. Twitter's disgusting. I hate Twitter.
Yeah, well, my guy, you like Twitter, don't you, Chad?
Yeah, man's on Twitter flexing and fucking pissing.
What's your main then? What's your main social media then, Chiedu? Like, where do you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, when are you man gonna get to me? Because I'm fucking. Fucking on the TikTok boy, mate, asking him about his fucking life. Am I even needed? Am I needed on this? Nah, seriously. Now, for me, obviously, so I was like finished uni, I was just teaching for like 8 years, and like the music.
What were you teaching?
So my first 4 years, I taught PE in like a PRU, with kids who've been kicked out of mainstream education. So they were just doing PE all day, bro. You know what I thought to myself? This is God. This is God getting me back. These kids were fucking barbarians, mate. Barbarians. They're nuts. But I loved them, though. I loved them. Like, I treated them like they was my kids. Like, I really got on with them. It was the best job I ever had. Like, I loved it, but the pay was just whack.
Yeah.
After doing that for 4 years, my old PE teacher from the school that I used to be at, he saw like the sick work I was doing there, and he DM'd me on Twitter, and he was like, "I've just become the head teacher at this school. I know that we would really benefit from you coming and being a part of our pastoral team. Come and have a look around the school. Like I'll basically treble your pay, which he did. And I went there and I loved it. I did like it. So I was there for 4 years. I was basically an achievement mentor there. And what an achievement mentor is you work in the pastoral team and you're basically like a non-teaching member of staff, but you're basically like a non-teaching member of staff, but you're like the head of year.
All right, okay.
Or you're basically you're like a deputy head of year, basically.
Yeah.
You'll have the teacher, you'll have the person who's a teacher as the head of year, and then you'll be like second in command. And it was a sick job, but the music was just getting like, doing really well. And like my missus got made redundant at her place and she's always wanted to move to London. And I was like, you know what? And I started to dislike the job because like I just clashed with that one of the teachers that was there was basically my line manager. And I thought, you know what? I've got a little bit of savings. Let me just quit this and let me just move to London. So that's what I did. I just hadn't looked back. And we've just had some phenomenal moments, like independently, really. Like I've got a track called Dache, and that was sort of like the start of the start of the success, I'd probably say, or the start of when things started to change was a song called Flex.
I was gonna say Flex. I thought it was Flex, bro.
Yeah, that's when things started changing, really, because that's when we started getting noticed from outside the city and stuff, and started getting put on like some decent Spotify playlists. And then after Flex, like it sort of didn't go quiet, but we was just chasing that Flex moment.
Yeah.
And like I had a song called Northwell Estate, which was just about my song, which did well. Like that was like, it was in The Guardian and it was like BBC introducing track of the week on One Extra. Like it did bits.
Was you on ITV News about that as well?
Yeah, ITV News about that. Like we did bits with that, man. And then that was doing well. But like, again, we were just trying to chase that Flex moment. So we had NHE after Flex. Nothing was really happening. And then Dache came and literally that was just the gift that kept on giving. Like we made that song in like my mate D's kids' council estate box bedroom where his mum's telling us to like keep down the racket, lads. Like literally, you know, you get the broomstick and you're banging up on the top on the ceiling. Literally, that was it. Made that song. We didn't think anything had happened. We just put it out, and then boom, like we got put on like a decent Spotify playlist, and then it was just crazy. Like that's when label interest started happening, meetings at Spotify, big like label execs like speaking about the track, like on BBC introducing, like using us as like examples of like independent artists, like JK sharing it on his Instagram story, like literally like it was just the gift that just kept on giving. And then we had the meeting at Spotify, they loved it, fully supported us. And then, we just had a couple of label meetings and went with a label. Then we released like a song called Men Behaving Badly, what did really well. Then we released a track called The War Chant that did quite well. And then, I'm not with the label no more. Going back to what Bax was saying about the music industry, what I learned in that, because they're very sneaky, man. And I think what you've got to learn about labels and the music industry is it's actually a business. And I think a lot of people forget that and they get chewed up and swallowed. And that nearly happened to me. Like I remember like, because I used to go to the meetings with DZ because I wanted him to like experience it all with me because he's like my partner in crime, and like he'd get like the mega bus from Hull, like 7-hour bus journey just to come into these label meetings, and like we're there and there's like Amy Winehouse plaques on there, like Tiny Temper plaques. We're all getting gassed and that, and then we're meeting a guy called Ted Mayo was like Mike Skinner's manager, where Mike Skinner was like the main man. Like, and obviously these are names that we know, and you get gassed. Like, bro, you got to think that we're two boys from Hull Council Estates who never thought that this would happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so like we really, you fall for the clout. You fall for it because they promise you all these things like, yeah, we'll do this for you. You'll be here in no time. And bro, it doesn't happen. And like, I will always say that I appreciated my label experience because they were nice people, but if I could do it again, I wouldn't have signed.
Okay, so you think you could have remained independent now? Then,
yeah, I think it would have been better at that time because I think if I'd remained independent at that time,
you would have blown up bigger.
Yeah, blown and built the momentum. Yeah, we would have been we would have probably been a bit fairer than what we are now, but we can't look back. That's just part of the game. Like, I can't look at that as a loss. I've got to just look at it as a lesson.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
So for me, at the moment, I'm making the best music of my life. Like literally, lockdown was frustrating, but then because we couldn't perform live, and I feel like my music comes alive the most when it's live. So obviously it was a little bit miffed off, but it's definitely made me have time to just write some bangers and prepare for a very organized 2021. Because don't get it twisted, you think when you sign with a label that things are organized and things are put in place. That's something that I learned very quickly is not the case. Do you get me? And like I realized that, like what I just said earlier, like it's a business. And all they wanted was just cash and fast. They weren't bothered about developing me or anything. They just wanted the finished article straight away. And for me, like I say, it's just a lesson. Like I respect all them guys because now I know it's just a business, and me, I've got to be about my business, but I've got to do it independently. And like what Back said, like if you want to be rich in the creative space, you can't just do music. You can't. So like doing these short documentaries with Backs, I've got another documentary coming out with another company. Like these are the things you've got to be doing. You've got to have your fingers in a few pies and then link it all together.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, man, like I'm really excited for 2021. I'm excited for the rest of this year. I've got a decent single dropping this coming Friday. Like, and for me, it's just about building momentum and staying very, very current and staying very, very active whilst doing other things. So like 2021, fingers crossed if it goes to plan, like I've got the year like mapped out. So I'm prepared and I'm hungry, man. Like for me, I'm very confident in my ability. I'm very confident in the music. I'm very confident in walking into these places now, where before I was new to walking into a label and stuff like that. But now, given them same opportunities, things would go down a lot differently.
Yeah. You know what you have to do? You have to walk into the place like your Nigerian mother.
That's it, bro.
Trust me.
You know what? The thing is about us whole people, and Bax will probably vouch, is we're too humble, man. Like we're not very bossy. Do you get me? And we're not, and that's why a lot of these London artists have fooled a lot of people, because a lot of these London artists, they're very good actors. They're fake as fuck. I don't know if you saw that footage on the plane the other day. Get me? Like I was speaking about this at the video shoot the other day, Anton, to like everyone, like if that was a plane full of Northerners, people's lives would have been at risk. Because
it would have gone off, wouldn't it?
I know if I saw my like ops, what these guys all say, like you're not like, I don't know. It's like they were like doing like a little shimmy dance in front of each other. Like, you know, it's like they were doing like, you know, when you was at school and you was going to have a fight with a kid, and like,
and
the teacher was in the middle, and you'd start getting leery as soon as the teacher comes because you know nothing can happen.
Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen because you know the teacher's going to get. That's what these guys were doing, and these guys are on records saying that they're going to chef down their ops and this. Yeah, these are meant to be enemies, you know, and they're fighting like they're 5. They're fighting like the 5-year-olds in the playground.
You know what? The fact that they fought full stop was embarrassing.
No, that is true. That's true. That is That's the bottom line. You've got anyone on one side who's just had a #1 album.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my point is.
Ian Wayne on the other side who's making serious bangers and has charted loads, and they're fighting. So you are right. The bottom line is they shouldn't be doing that in the first place. But if you're really about that,
what they're saying, exactly.
what you're saying, it should have gone down. And you're in economy. You guys meant to be rich. Why are you not in first class? Do you get me? Like, this is what I'm saying.
Ian Wayne came out with something and said, I can't, man, fly economy. I have to save my money or something along those lines
off,
or
man.
something like that.
You know what I mean? Like, and this is what I'm saying. These guys have got the priorities wrong. And
they say he knows millionaires that don't have iPhones and that.
One of them ones.
It's just like, for me, I just think that what I've learned, boys, is the industry is so fake, bro. It's so fake. Like, nothing's real, man. Nothing's
it's
real.
not even
the fact that you just said that, I say that all the time. No, it's everything else. Yeah, that's I said more time. It's a persona, though, isn't it? Like, everyone has to create a character which they feel like people want to like be induced by. But yeah, man, I fully hear that.
Man.
Especially in those type of situations, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just think London's just a circus, bro. After I've been there like a lot. I've been to these events. I've been around a few of these artists, and just a lot of them are just fake. They can't go anywhere without their entourage. Like, they're just fake. But a lot of them are just fake guys, man. And they're just selling. They're just doing music what's trendy, like, and saying things in their music that they don't do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. I'm a bit anti-industry. Same as Bax. Like, I hate everything about it. I'm just trying to break the mold, man, and just trying to sail through, like, in my own way, man. Like, I'm just trying to make.
When you were teaching us, sorry to interrupt, you were still making music and that. Then,
yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, do you know, like, with the pupils that you were teaching, were you like pushing your music on them, or did they like come up to you and be like, "Oh, say,
bro, you know what?
And that.
It's the best. You know, it's the best publicity ever. You know.
Yo, that's what I was about to say.
Ever. Like, literally, I don't even know if you remember, like, on my last day. You remember when I put that video and all the kids was chanting in that?
Yeah.
That, honestly, I did a gig. I did like a little gig on my last day of when I worked at the school. Mate, like, the teachers had to come out because it was pandemonium. I'm not joking. The kids were going wild and chanting. Like, it was quite emotional, really. Like even the head teacher like pulled me to a side. He goes, "I've never seen this before. Like, I've never seen a teacher have this much impact on the kids. Like, they were chanting my name all years, going through the corridor, because obviously it's the last day. They're all excited and it's half day, so they're all just proper giddy, chanting Oraka. Like, they're just going, they're going absolutely nuts. Like, mate, the music, like, them kids used to love it. They loved it. Absolutely loved it. Like, loved it, man.
Like, they do rate you, mate. And like, even in a few of my videos on TikTok, I've posted that you've been in them. People commenting saying, "Oh, that's my old teacher. He's sick. He's this. He's that." Yeah. Like, you have, mate. You've imprinted them, man. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely. Like, honestly, and because I recognize, like, because it's the youth, innit? Like, the youth are always going to be your biggest consumers.
Yeah, 100%.
So if they love you, then you're winning.
Yeah. But mate, they'll sack you off just as quick, though. Trust
me. Yeah, definitely.
Quicker, mate. Honestly,
mate. Fickle, though, innit? That's why as well.
Definitely, mate. That was the insult they used. If I ever told them off, they used to like shout it. "Oh, you rubbish at rapping anyway, sir." They used to love throwing that. "Oh, sir, I don't like." But you know what? I loved about them though. Like if you want to know like feedback on your music,
honest
like
feedback, yeah.
Honest.
There's no one honest than kids. Like, they'll say like, "You know what, sir, I didn't really feel that one, you know," or "Flex is still my favorite." Like, they'll
so you know,
they'll just let me know, like, honestly, and I love that.
No, it's good that that's raw. That's what you want. Right, guys, I think we need to wrap up because what is try and keep the timing down, but I think it's been going off. But honestly, it was a great conversation, especially with you two. So we want to thank you really for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Good insight though. Good insight. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, man.
All right, nice one, lads. Well, yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed chatting with you guys. Maybe we'll come on again in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And what I just wanted to do as well, I just want to say, where can everyone find you guys? So where would they be able to get hold of you? What's your socials? How they find you?
I've got both on Instagram now anyway.
Just walk up to any device and just bark Mundo at it, and my face will come up.
Yeah.
What about you, Oraka?
I'm just Oraka LD on Twitter and Instagram, man. That's me. Oraka, ORAKA-LD.
Perfect. And again, so thank you for having us on.
Thank you, boys. Thank you so much, man.
No worries.
Thank you, much appreciated.
No worries, fellas, and good luck with all your future endeavours.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you for joining the podcast. You've been here with myself, Anton, our two guests, Bax and Chiedu Oraka.
Hey, Dache, peace out. Thank you for joining the podcast. Like, comment, share, do whatever you need to do. You know the vibe, as Jason would say.
You know the vibes.
Yes, thank you again, guys. Love having you here. Like, comment, share. Keep it up. Thank you.
And listen, honestly, man, we've been talking for a while in this. So if you're still here, thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a friend. Thank you very much.